Okay, I guess I'm recording now. This is a little video here for my topic this week. It's going to be a little different with Christmas coming up. I want to talk about where I was back in 1975 on Christmas Day, up to through New Year's, I believe. I was actually in the United States Army, stationed in Berlin, Germany at the time. And one of the responsibilities we had in Berlin was Spandau prison. We took turns as working there as prison guards with the British, the French troops, and let's see, and the Russians who were actually in the East Berlin. They would come over to West Berlin. But anyway, now Spandau prison was it does not exist anymore. It was torn down a few years ago, but it housed. I got to be careful. I want to be politically correct here, but I believe, yeah, they were prisoners from. There were Nazi war crime. I would say, yeah, they were convicted, all convicts. They were all convicted of Nazi war crimes in World War II. And several of them were imprisoned in Berlin in Spandau prison. Now, that wasn't a very nice place to go to, but it was also had a reputation for, and why I'm talking about it, being haunted. Now, there were several guard towers there, and of course, it wouldn't take too many guesses to figure which tower was haunted. There was a tower number 3, and it was supposedly haunted. Now, when I was there in 1975, my first time there, I actually was a guard there in 1975. Rudolf Hess, believe it or not, many know him from history. He was the last prisoner there when I was there. Everybody else had either passed away or they released a couple, but Rudolf Hess, they kept him. And anyway, it was very, very unique situation because the Spandau prison was located in the British sector. Now let me back up for a second. Now the city's divided into 4 sectors at that time. You had the Russians, which had East Berlin, which was, of course, in East Germany. The whole city's actually in East Germany, but then you had West Berlin. And at that point in time, the city, West Berlin, was completely surrounded by a wall, all the way around. The only time the Russians would come over to the prison is when they had guard duty. Now, we had our barracks, and they had their barracks, and they were actually locked in the prison. And when they were there, because they didn't want them, escaping for political amnesty or anything like that. And we had our guardhouse, which was not inside the prison. And anyway, uh, there were things would happen there. There was lights in the prison. I mean, the building. Let me paint a picture for you, mental picture. There was the only building that really was any kept up at this point, maintained, was the guardhouse, and place where the warden had his office in, and then where Rudolph Hess was actually housed in his cell. Uh, I only got to go into where his cell was one time because we had to take something into him, and I just happened to be there. But it's very limited access. Then you weren't allowed to look at him or anything. But anyway, just seeing that man's enough to make anyone believe that that place could be haunted, because he gave me the creeps. You look at this person, just steps right out of history. He's just, he just had an evil aura about him. Anyway, I was pulling guard duty there, and I wasn't too, I was very skeptical about anything back then. And long story short, I actually traded guard duties a couple times. People would come up and say, "Hey, pull my shift, I'll pull yours. I don't want to be there from midnight to 3 or whatever." And I'm like, "Sure, fine, I'll go there." So I go up to the guard duty, and they give me, one guy gave me $20 to go pull his guard. That's a lot of money back in '75, just to take his guard duty. Okay, I'll take it. I'll go there. I'll pull your shift. It's only 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours is what we had to be there, I believe, if I remember right, at that time. So anyway, there were things you'd hear, steps. Now the towers themselves had steps going up. Inside they were metal steps, stairs that spiraled around. And then at the top, you got up there, there was a heavy door you opened, and then you closed it. And it had a metal handle on it. And anyway, that was, I believe, where people said they would hear steps, after they'd come up, they'd hear ghostly steps. Well, it didn't take me too long to figure out that the handle on the metal door that sat down there, it was a heavy door, but there was a weight on it, and that handle would swing back and forth, and it would click. It'd make a clicking sound if you hit it with your boot or something. And you walk around there at night, and you can't hit that with your boot just right, and it would just rock back and forth, click, 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 click. And people thought, "Oh my, footsteps." Well, it didn't take me long to debunk that. And then people were talking about lights. Oh, there's lights in the courtyard and all this other stuff. Went out there and figured that out. You got these windows, they're all messed up on the buildings out there. You got a road runs by nearby there. You got car lights flashing in there that are flashing, lights go through. You have reflection and refraction through the building. And I thought, well, now there's your lights there in the courtyard. Well, that's debunked. So anyway, haunted Spandau prison didn't bother me too much. And then they told me the story about Tower Number 3, why it was haunted. And they said, well, supposedly one of the Allied soldiers was depressed because he got bad news from home, and he killed himself in the tower. And I thought, oh, okay, this is a whole different story here, So then I got to admit, after that, I kind of got the creeps going up to the Tower 3. And I just, I didn't go out of my way to take that tower anymore. I thought, you guys can have it. If you got it, you pull it. It's all yours. You can have it. I'm good. So anyway, that's where I was, and